Hello, welcome to ShropshireStar.com on this transfer deadline day, a somewhat quiet transfer deadline day as far as Shrewsbury Town are concerned. My name's Jonny Drury. I'm alongside Salop correspondent Ollie Westbury, who's been sitting in his house twiddling his thumbs all afternoon, waiting for something Salop related to happen. It's been a quiet day so far. We've had just the one bit of transfer news out of the Montgomery Waters Meadow. Julien Dacosta's gone back to Coventry City. His loan's been cancelled. Looks like he's going to go elsewhere. It's been a frustrating period for him at Town. Was that one expected?
I think we've kind of come into this transfer deadline day with an awful lot of things that could happen. And then obviously this morning we had the news that, he was going to be recalled to Coventry. There was talk that, Julien Dacosta, could have joined Shrewsbury on a permanent. I'm sure that if Shrewsbury could have done that, they would have liked to have done that. I mean, this is just an opinion, but I think if they would have liked to have had him as part of the squad, but there's no point keeping him. If he's not going to join on a permanent, then there is simply just no point keeping him, is there? Because you can't pick him. They've maxed out on their loans. They've got 5 loans, and Julien has had some injury issues, hasn't he, over the course of the season? I think he's played twice since August, very fleeting appearances. So it's not quite worked out for him at Salop, which is a real shame for Dacosta. I think he did show some promise at times. He looked like you could see why Steve Cottrell and the recruitment team brought him in. But no, it's unfortunate for them that it's not quite worked out at this stage. And I believe I'm under the impression that he is looking to move close to home. So I think his next move, there's a good chance that his next move will be back into his native France. So that's the state of play with that one. And he has returned to Coventry.
The other one that Salop fans are waiting on, we heard a week or so ago that Aiden O'Brien was going to be leaving after, again, a frustrating spell. Injuries, just come back. Steve Cottrell said he wanted to move closer to his family or close to home. We believe that Gillingham are interested. What's the state of play on that one, Al?
Well, I tweeted probably just over an hour or two ago that move's edging ever closer, and that is the case with it. That's probably as much as that can be said at this stage. It's very much of a case of it's deadlines at 11 p.m. and we're just going to have to wait to see how that one pans out. I imagine. I think that is just the case. The deal that I imagine there is negotiations taking place in order to kind of get the deal done to suit all parties. So that's where that one is at. I tweeted that about an hour ago, kind of across that. So as soon as there's any developments in that one, then I shall provide an update as and when I can. But yeah, that's where we are with Aiden O'Brien.
Any incomings? Obviously, if that deal gets done, is there money to be spent? Obviously, Steve Cottrell's been quite honest with Salop fans and said that it will be a quiet January, as has Brian Caldwell, I think, when he spoke earlier in the window. Could there potentially be anyone coming in, or is that sort of done for January?
The honest answer, sorry, not the honest question, is I'm not sure. I expect not. I expect there not to be, just based on the conversations and the stories that I've kind of written based on the comments from Steve Cottrell and what he said at the weekend, and the comments from Brian Caldwell and what he said on occasion that that the money's not there. So I don't expect too much to happen in terms of incomings. It's been quiet. There's not been any players really linked with regards to incoming. So this I don't expect, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. That does not mean it won't happen. Anything can happen in a transfer market. Anything can happen on deadline day, and there is still time. So we will have to wait and see. So I would say, that'd probably be, the way I'd describe it at the moment, and that's purely based on what the manager has said after games and prior to games in his press conferences. That is the line that they've generally been going with. The funds aren't there, so we'll see where we are with it. I'm keeping tabs on it, and if somebody becomes available and they go in and get them, then I'll be first to cover it. But I can't say I'm overly too expectant on it.
Does it make it more difficult that they probably can't well, they can bring another loan in, but obviously that's just the same issues they had with someone like Dacosta, where you've maxed out your loans in terms of your
Yeah.
match day squad. That's probably the most difficult aspect of it, I imagine.
I suppose, yeah. I imagine that at this time of an evening, that a loan would be one of the easiest things to get at this stage, rather than a permanent. So yes, I imagine the fact that they've kind of maxed out on their loans already, it suggests that, you know, if you were a Premier League side, a young player to Shrewsbury, you're probably looking at, you know, the fact that they won't be able to guarantee that they're going to play. Simply because they've got 5 loans already, and then that means that someone will have to make way. So, yeah, the honest answer is that at this moment in time, in terms of incomings, we are where we are with it, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see where we go. Reluctant to rule anything out, but I'm not particularly expectant either. So that's basically sit on the fence.
Just finally recapping January transfer window, it won't take long because there's only been one incoming. Killian Phillips is coming from Crystal Palace, seems to have made a little bit of an impact. I'm sure Steve Cotterill in an ideal world would have liked more to come in, but do you think he'll be happy with his addition from the window?
Well, I think he'll be happy with Killian Phillips. I think he's been a terrific addition so far. You know, since he's arrived, I think he played in the game against Sunderland. I think that might have been his debut. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I can't quite remember. But, you know, since his arrival, I mean, they've won 4 on the bounce. I think he's played 5 and they've won 4. And he's made a difference in that midfield. So, yes, I think he'll be absolutely over the moon with the impact that Killian Phillips has had on the team. But I suppose that, you know, what football manager wouldn't want to sign more players? You know, football managers always want to sign more players, don't they? So, you know, that's where we're at with it at the moment. And you know, he has been a success so far. So fingers crossed he can you know, keep going and keep up the good work.